What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch ahead.
Welcome back to the NECC. We've got some more Hearthstone action for you tonight. Looks to be a good one. Both players coming into the night 1-1, shaping up to be a very, very aggressive match. The only slow deck has been banned out. The Highlander Priest will be sitting on the sideline this week's very excited matchup. Arcadia University's very own Aiden is set to duel against Dear J, hailing from Montclair State. Knights, Cyberhawks, let's get it cooking. My name is Ethan Dawn, probably better known as Nellhead. I'm joined tonight by Coach Jim Lowry. Coach, it's been a while.
It has been. It's been since the fall, but I'm glad we're back casting together.
Absolutely. It's been since the National Championship for League of Legends. I believe that was the last time that our appearances graced the stream together. I'm very excited for tonight. Hearthstone new since that National Championship matchup, and we do have Aiden and the aforementioned Dear J going head-to-head. Both players coming in 1-1. Dear J, bad sweep last week. Couldn't quite secure the dub. Gotta be the favorite for me coming out with the list. Starting off strong with the Highlander Hunter, tier 1 deck right now, Coach. Then moving on to Token Druid, also a tier 1 deck. Both lists looking absolutely so strong. Pirate Warrior, bit of a curveball for me. Not my favorite list. Still aggressive, still low to the ground. I do enjoy it, not as much as the other two lists. On the other side for Aiden from Arcadia University, Stealth Rogue, tier 2, chilling out. We've got Broom Paladin, also tier 2. Two lists that I'm just okay with, just as medium on as a Pirate Warrior. Highlander Druid is just a clown fiesta. You just had a nice soup going. It was pretty okay. It was chicken noodle, and you just threw like a freaking peanut butter and jelly sandwich in it. It just doesn't make sense. This Highlander Token Druid list is just so out of left field from Aiden. I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning is behind it, Coach. in general, Aiden will be fighting an uphill battle with these lists. What's the mentality you have to hold in a game that's slow, that's methodical like Hearthstone, where you're going to just be down on card advantage, on card selection over the course of the game, Coach? What do they got? What's got to be going on up here?
You just have to be perfect mentally and make the best choices possible. Anything like this, any kind of card game, RNG does come into play. What card do you draw? Do you get the card you need on the top deck when you need it? So tier 1 deck, tier 2 deck, yeah, there's going to be some advantage there. But if a tier 1 deck doesn't draw anything he needs and a tier 2 deck draws everything they need, it's still going to be a quick game, just in the other direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta rest that luck of the draw. And the one thing I do like to say, thinking about card games especially, you gotta make your own luck, Coach. If you can put yourself in a position where being lucky gets you the win, then it's not all luck in that situation, right? You had to first put yourself there. You had to put yourself in a position in which a lucky top deck would get you there, in which your opponent, maybe more likely getting unlucky, would get you there. And I think that's exactly what we have to see. Aiden has to play near perfect down the stretch and put himself in positions to win. I'm expecting some slow, methodical play coming through from Aiden. On the other side of Dear J, Coach, what's the mentality got to be like if you are favored coming in, looking at the deck list here?
It's got to be the same. You just got to play your game, and you got to just keep in your own headspace. You really can't let the deck list decide how you play the game. You got to play the game to your best ability, regardless of what's coming at you.
Yeah, interesting note here is Aiden has gone to 2 full-length matches in week 1 and 2, losing week 1 against familiar face No SM, who has graced the stream before as well, losing 2-3, a long 5-gamer. Last week against King Milo, held the 3-2 dub. So Aiden coming in, we're talking about you have to be patient, Coach. You have to put yourself in position to win, is used to this grind, is used to these matches going the absolute distance. Do you think that's going to help out Aiden here tonight?
I think it might. It's if the matches go the duration we think they're going to, the fact that he's used to playing those longer matches, at least in this kind of format at the collegiate level, then yeah, that's going to give him probably a little bit better on the mental. But both of these players have played long games before. I mean, they're not going to get to this point without playing long games. So I don't think it's going to be as big, but it will definitely be an X factor at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other side, Dear J has had almost the opposite experience. Week 1, a 3-1 win over White Shadow. And then last week, that aforementioned 0-3 ugly sweep against Paper Ninja has been very, very feast or famine here of late for Dear J, trying to find consistency. Trying to find some consistency here down the stretch and just trying to get into a flow. As we said, both players here knotted up at 1-1 on the season, both looking to move back into a positive record here tonight. And I'm expecting a quick series, even if that means we go the distance to 5. I don't see us sitting here more than about 45 minutes. Every single one of these decks is pretty low to the ground. If we go through the list again, Stealth Rogue, Highlander / Token Druid, and Broom Paladin coming through from Aiden. 3 decks that like to get bodies on the board and get busting with those bodies, just putting a lot of damage in. On the other side, Dear J, Highlander Hunter, phenomenal deck, can end games in a hurry, can play the slow game if they want to. Token Druid and Pirate Warrior, 2 decks once again, bodies on the board, get those bodies on a bus and send them towards the enemy phase. I'm not sure if you can hear the fire alarm in my house, but it is going off. A little bit of applause. It's some drumming up before this best of 5 series, Coach. I am very excited to get into this one.
Sorry, I'm giving the producer some extra information here. No, I'm excited too. And like you said, putting the bodies out there, getting the bodies moving forward. Arena control of the board control. It's going to be huge, especially when you're looking at a deck that wants to have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million cards on the board. If you can keep them at a low number, that's going to be the mental right there. If he's like, oh, I have to have 6 out all the time, every time, let's do this 6, 6, 6. If he just wants to have everything out the whole time and you keep him to 1 or 2, you're going to screw up all of the planning and you're going to have a better chance in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Board control is my number one thing that I'm looking at how players will play to contest the board. Number two for me in these aggressive matchups is card advantage. Which one of these aggro decks can get a little bit of extra steam off the top? Who can dig for a little bit of that extra gas that will last them the performance here? I'm excited to see that. And I think that's why Zulok was a solid ban. Hand of Gul'dan is a card that just can draw you so many cards and is absolutely back-breaking in mirror matches or in matches where both decks are low to the ground. It looks like our players are just about ready to send us in. If you're just joining us, if you don't necessarily know what Hearthstone is, the format is a best-of-5 conquest here. Each player does bring 4 decks. One deck gets banned by the enemy player. That has already happened. Highlander Priest, Zulok taken off the board. You have to win with each of your decks once. So you have to win 3 total, but each of those wins has to be with a different deck. So after I win with, say, a Hunter deck, I can't play that Hunter deck for the rest of the matchup. So there is some thinking that goes in outside of the games. Are you going to be prideful? Are you going to stick to your guns after losing a match with a deck that you feel confident in? Are you going to switch it up right away? These are some questions that I will be looking at going forward, especially considering the nature, the speed of these decks. Woo! I'm excited, Coach. It's going to be a good one. We're getting into game number 1 right here. Aiden going up against DJ. We've got Paladin going up against Druid here in game number 1. Lord Barov Rally and Libram of Justice in the opener right here for Aiden is what we are looking at. Wouldn't be surprised to see a solid number of these cards tossed back. Lord Barov can be okay in the opener. More so, I am just looking at this matchup of Paladin going up against Druid. Aiden's Paladin list is a pretty typical Broom Paladin list. Gets a lot of bodies on the board. We'll keep that Lord Barov in the opener. But the opener for DJ is just looking massive. This token Druid has a start that's low to the ground. First day of school right there. Will get 2 1-drops and can secure a play on turn 1. So, Coach, there is the board advantage you were talking about here early on, but an explosive start is being considered here by DJ.
Yeah, no, it could get interesting right off the bat. Like we said, we talked about board control. So we're just gonna see if you can get something down here, get in the way. Otherwise, the route can start early.
Absolutely, that 1-2 sucker punch where he's thinking about bees right here, turn 1. So if you're not aware, yep, there it is, the lightning bloom into the coin. We're gonna see some bees on turn 1. So this is going to trade out with the minion, going to be left with 2 1-1s on board. Very aggressive play, pouring a lot of resources into that turn 1. Does still have the coin to back up though, so it's not super punishable. There's a loot hoarder, awkward body to trade into. You're going to have to lose a bee no matter what you do with that coin. They are going to coin out, buff one of the bees, get a 1-1 on board, get a 1-1 in hand. Adorable Infestation. Such a strong card that's been added to the game of late. So it gives a minion you control +1/+1. It summons a 1-1 minion, and it puts a 1-1 for 1 in your hand. It doesn't get much more valuable than that, Coach.
It doesn't. And we were talking about board control, and really early on, we were like, okay, are we going to see the bees? And we saw the bees, and now Aiden's on the back foot trying to get minions on the board just to get in the way, if nothing else.
Absolutely. Going to be able to control a little bit here. Prize Plunder coming in. Going to be able to take out that buffed bee. Going to pass the turn back over to DJ. DJ's hand is still a little bit scary. Needs a little bit of gas to get on the board in order for it to do a whole lot. But there is the Dreamlight Guardian. Going to get 2 1-1 Dryads with Lifesteal. Kind of big in this aggro matchup. So Lifesteals, whenever that minion does damage, you do get an equal amount of life back. Squirrels added to the hand after the Acorn Bearer does go down. Rally is drawn, and that's a backbreaker. Rally resummons a 1-cost, a 2-cost, a 3-cost minion that has died on your side of the battlefield this game. A great way, kind of an army in a can. You play that and get your whole board back.
You gotta be careful when you, not careful, but you gotta be strategic when you play that though. There is gonna be a perfect time to play that card. It's not something that you just want to play immediately.
Absolutely. 2 Power of the Wilds in hand for Jansen here. Squirrel's going to get onto the board. A lot of trading happening. There's a Reinforce going to further their board position. 2 Power of the Wilds in hand. for DJ, just no minions to even play on. That's a Glowfly Swarm. Oh, that Glowfly Swarm is going to come in big next turn because there are 2 spells in hand. So for those unfamiliar, Glowfly Swarm costs 5. You summon a 2/2 Glowfly for each spell in hand. So it's once again, kind of a way to counteract that. Get a nice board out of nowhere. 2/2's not an insignificant body. Can trade 2 of those into that squirrel right there. Kind of get a little control back. 3 spells in hand. That will not be a 4th spell. Or what is that card on fire? That's a Gibberling, so it won't be a spell. Glowfly Swarm right now summons 3 2/2s. Not gonna happen. Going to use the hero power. Trade into the 1/1 with the Scape Shift. May drop the Gibberling. And gonna do nothing. Gonna hold on to that mana. Interesting play, not very mana efficient, but just trying to get the most value out of the cards that you have in hand.
And talking about something for late game, you know, Libram of Hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Libra of Hope can be an absolute backbreaker. And right now, Aiden, although the start didn't look amazing, has certainly stabilized, is certainly ahead right now. So it's going to be tough for DJ to climb back out of this hole. Does grab the Eclipse, though, so can double Glowfly Storm if they want to. Oh no, that's Lunar Eclipse, not Solar Eclipse. We're good. We'll do that into a Glowfly Storm, reducing it. Going to get a solid amount here off here. Gibberlings obviously do replicate every time you do cast a spell. So an army in a box right there, Coach. But as you so pointed out, that Libram of Hope is going to be an absolute backbreaker. Getting that 8/8 Guardian with Taunt Divine Shield is absolutely massive. And all their 2-seeker not going to make getting to this backline any easier. Throwing up some taunt action. It's looking pretty futile, and there is the concession. DJ goes down in game number 1 as that Broom Paladin will pick up the dub. Wow. We saw Aiden get control of the board, Coach, and never let go.
You know, I was actually a little bit worried when they played the rally because I didn't see a 3-drop come out, so they played it, only got a 1 and a 2. And I thought maybe it was a little bit understated that they played it there and instead of waiting. However, I obviously was wrong. Hashtag Coach Jim was wrong yet again. And so that's what we saw, though, was just it got there, and then we saw the Libram of Hope get into hand. It's like, oh, well, this could be over quickly if it's not over quickly on the other side. And with the concession, it was right there.
Absolutely. We are here now in game number 2. Stealth Rogue going up against this Pirate Warrior. What an opener, both of these. Sky Raider out on 1, absolutely massive, getting that card advantage. But on the other side, we have so much damage in this hand coming through. Spy Mistress coming on 1 is a 3-1 for 1 with Stealth. Talk about some power creep back from the vanilla set. And we're going to be able to trade out right away. Coin into Plunger, going to trigger that combo, deals 2 damage, clears the board. Explosive start for Aiden right here. Counteracting a pretty solid start from DJ.
Well, and you know, we talk about, you know, we were talking about earlier, you know, having the good RNG. Aiden, everything in their hand, low cost. And you look over there at the top of the board and everything in their hand, high cost. So everything Aiden needs, they have, whereas 2 cards are playable, but it's one or the other. They're not going to be able to pull off any kind of a decent combo because all of their mana is being spent.
So that Frothing Berserker, usually solid, but Eviscerate in hand is just going to hurt. You can go Worgen into, going straight for the face. I think Worgen's the move here. Oh, yep, we'll play the Worgen into Eviscerate. Going to be able to take out that Frothing Berserker, going straight to the face, 3 damage there. These stealth threats are just stacking up on the board, and they're so awkward to trade into, Coach. Yeah, you can kill him with your weapon, but you're taking 3 damage on the back end each and every time. Not a position you really want to be in. DJ feeling the heat here in game number 2 from Aiden. Here's Steel Dancer coming through. Gonna get a Void Walker. That's actually very, very solid right here.
All right, the 3 defense on that is really helpful, or the 3 health, I should say. Sorry. Lingo between different card games. But the 3 health on that is huge because not a lot of big minions coming out of Aiden. So that could be something that could just sit here and make a couple of picks and try to get board control back.
Yeah, absolutely. The effective health so big on a 1-3, just an awkward body to deal with. They're going to weapon up here, trade the Worgen into it, and we'll get rid of it this turn, leaving a 3-1 on board. We have to keep our eyes on one thing here in my mind, Coach. Seeing Aiden's hand, there are 2 Sinister Strikes. That is 1 mana to deal 3 damage to the enemy's face. So effectively, we have to say that DRJ is just 6 health less than they are at all points in time. Essentially sitting at 10 right here. Not much that DRJ has to do, but they're starting to feel the heat here. Flipping the script and dipping the chip is DRJ, getting a lot on board. Secret Passage here, going to be able to draw some cards, usable only this turn. 4 mana available. There's a Pen Flinger, that's going to be big. There's a Swindle, a lot of card advantage, a Spy Mistress. Oh my gosh, this hand is just absolutely stacked with value right here, considering what to do. But in my mind, you're playing Swindle first. Swindle, maybe the move, just the option. They're going to go with the Pen Flinger into the Swindle. 1 mana left, draws into another Swindle. Oh my goodness, this could get dangerous here in a second. Cracking in, there's 4 damage. When the hand does reset here, we're going to get both strikes back to hand. With the Pen Flinger, there's effectively 7 damage in hand right now for Aiden.
On the other side, though, DRJ finally has enough mana with all those high-cost cards in hand that they could play more than 1. So something to look at is that they're going to have extra cards coming out here, and they're not small cards.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are so close. 9, 10, 11. Oh, we can't deal with the 3-1 threat. I think that's game. You need a taunt on board. That's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. I think that's exactly lethal. Cracks in here, Pen Flinger for 1. You're going to be able to double Sinister Strike, weapon up, hit the face for 1 more. Aiden is found lethal here in game number 2, seemingly from nowhere. There's the concede. DRJ has dropped 2 straight games. Aiden has come in with the aggressive decks, has come in not necessarily conforming to the tier list, and look what has happened. Aiden representing Arcadia. The Knights looking strong here, Coach. 1 game away from the sweep.
Yeah, no, and we talked earlier about RNG and about getting what you needed, and 2 draws in a row. Everything he needed was right there in front of him, with all the mana to play it. And right there, you saw a low mana deck against a high mana deck. DRJ wasn't doing a whole lot because all the cards in their hand cost too much for them to combo off, whereas everything almost in Aiden's hand was a 1 or a 2 drop.
Absolutely, and here in my mind is Aiden's tallest task yet, going back up against this Pirate Warrior, but playing Highlander Druid. Not a deck I have a lot of faith in, not a deck I have a whole lot of stock in, but we're going to see what does happen. Nature Studies right here, Wilgen Discovery, Bees is very, very solid, getting some bodies on the board, being able to trade out with this very hyper-aggressive deck. We're going to see the Overgrowth also can be somewhat tempting. Bite, there's some solid options here. I would go with Bees. It's fun to say, it's got good art, you know.
I kind of like the Overgrowth, but they went with the Bees. Sometimes I always like to play it in games like this. I always like to play with control, and having extra mana gives you that control sometimes.
Absolutely, it does. They are going to decide to play fast. Yeah, so Aiden trying to put the heat on right here. Can play Bees right here and trade out with the 2-2 and be left with 2 1/1s on board. There's a whole bevy of options at Aiden's disposal here. Once again, trying to put away DRJ, and they will pop out the Bees. Going to trade out with the 2-2. Going to be left with 2 1/1s on board. Popping out of Dormant this turn. We'll be granting them a weapon right there. Solid, solid stuff. And there's a Frothing Berserker. This could get going straight for the face. Not even trading out for control of the board there, Jim. Whew, aggressive play.
Hey, aggression's worked on the side of Aiden, so maybe DRJ is just trying to take a note.
Absolutely, summoning a 3-2 Eagle here, going to pop out the animated Broomstick as well, giving the Eagle charge, able to trade out for the board entirely. That's going to hurt. If it would have traded with the Axe to a minion, obviously wouldn't have done the 3 damage to face. The Steel Dancer will come out and summon it over. Not exactly what you were looking for right there. Overgrowth will come through, and they're given a chance to slow down here. Just a chance to I'm going to ask my director if we can scroll over that 0-4. I don't want to butcher exactly what the card does. On the board, on Jansen's side, on DRJ's side, that 0-4.
At the end of your turn, give +1/+1 to all other
totems in your hand,
deck,
yes.
and battlefield.
Okay, I didn't want to butcher it because I don't know how to say the name. I think it's Izor? Izor? Yeah. But not
Grand
going to do
Totem
anything.
Izor.
Yeah, not going to do anything here. No totems in this deck. Lunar Eclipse being thought about here. Bog Beam also being looked at. That will do 3 damage to Greenskin there on the left. And finished off, going to reduce the cost of the next spell. Comboing out right here. There's Centurion Ward gaining a whole lot of armor. Oh my gosh. Look at the minion. We're going to be able to trade right off the bat here, cracking him for some damage. And is able to drop a taunt threat at the end. Absolutely massive play there from Aiden. One step closer to putting away this series, Coach.
Well, like I said, we talk about RNG in games like this all the time, and it didn't look good for Aiden. Then the right card gets drawn at it, all of a sudden is totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. The board is able to be taken care of, but this hand is still looking a little bit scary down the stretch. That's a Leasting Light in hand as well. If your deck has no duplicates, you duplicate your entire hand. You get an extra copy of every card, and you can get a second Yasiraj if you want to. The bees, they're coming through. They're going to trade out on the board. Yasiraj the Defiler, Battlecry is adding copy of each corrupted card you play this game to your hand. They cost 0 this turn. I don't have an exact count on every corrupted card that's been played, but this could be absolutely nasty depending on what is in the pool. We do see a threat dropped on the other side. This Warrior's starting to get going. I'm just not sure if it is going to ultimately be enough, Coach.
You know, it all comes down to the top deck sometimes. Sometimes it all comes down to, do you get the one card you need?
There's Overflow going to fill up this hand, really wanting that at least do something special. And there's Solar Eclipse going to be able to combo a little bit together. Solar Eclipse makes the next spell cost 2 less, so actually not able to play anything else off that one. It is just going to Scape Shift and go face, but healing a lot, drawing a lot of cards, which is important. Matching that Ringmaster Watley there. Ringmaster Watley drawing 3 cards from deck. Had DRJ feeling like they were in a solid position, but man, on the other side, Aiden is able to match with even more card draw and healing, which is so massive. Corkin Elite in hand. Think about being played there. Going to go with the alternative course of action, buffing up the weapons, buffing up the minions a bit. Kent Trasher going to crack in, trade on the board, as will Izor, and solid board control here from DRJ, but 21 HP still for Aiden. Has a lot of options in hand. We're going to see what happens, and oh my gosh, the hand is just so explosive.
That's good. I like that right there. You got a lot of combo potential right in there.
Absolutely do. Garuda coming in, gain attack and health. All right, also has Wind Fury, and on this spell cast will gain attack and health equal to that spell cast. 207-10, Wind Fury with the charge. Going to be able to trade out with 2 on board. Will do so right there. Not the biggest turn, but the Nourish coming through to draw a whole ton of cards, left with a lot of beef on board. The thing is that Corkin Elite is still in hand. Double Sky Barge coming through right here, and there's the South Sea deckhand. They're going right for the face, going to trade out with those Sky Barges for direct damage in hand, and finally, with this Pirate Warrior, DRJ are finding their sea legs, Coach.
All puns aside, it could still get interesting here. A lot of mana, a lot of cards in hand. Let's see if there's a combo available.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if that is available. Solar Eclipse going to have to be a vital part of that if something can happen. Next spell cast will happen twice. Forest Warden coming through, and they're going to follow it up with a Guess the Wait, drawing in a Lightning Bloom, which they will draw. That's big. And the Innervate right there, not going to be drawn. No way you could have. Oh no, will be drawn. I thought they guessed more or less on that, which would have made sense. There's a Zephyrs. Oh my gosh. Okay. Coach, things just got very, very interesting. interesting. That was a wild turn of events. Zephyr's off the top. Mana Crystals have refresh. We could find a board wipe here. What are we looking at? Maybe a Blizzard coming through. Here's the Zephyrs. What are the three options going to be? Give it to me. Shadow Flame, fantastic. Tyrion, fantastic. Defender Arc's fantastic. I think you got to take Shadow Flame. It clears the whole board. You're left with 4 mana left over. There it is. Play it on your 5/4. Bada bing, bada boom. Board is wiped. You're left with Zephyrs. You can even play a Moon Touch Amulet to boot. 9 HP, just a Corcoran Elite in hand. And just like that, Aiden found themselves caught in a corner, but they dig themselves out, are now in a position to take home this sweep, Coach. That may have been the best singular turn that I've seen in the NECC to date.
You see, and that's what I like talking about, having the mana, knowing what to do with the mana, you know, getting the mana refresh there, allowing you to play every card you needed all at once, and having hand advantage. I mean, not just, you know, advantage on the board, but hand advantage. One card for Dear J, what is that, 7 in Aiden's hand, plus complete board control? They have everything they want, everything they need, and it looks a lot different than it did just one turn ago.
Absolutely it does. That solar eclipse into Guess the Wait. Oh, there it is! Aiden from Arcadia University representing the Knights well with a 3-0 sweep. That solar eclipse into Guess the Wait. The solar eclipse into Guess the Wait, finding Zephyrs off the top into the board clear. Absolutely sensational play right there. Oh my goodness, Coach. This is not a game. This is not a match that I will soon be forgetting.
Well, and we talked about, you know, being able to go the distance in the match, and in that one, Abel was able to go the distance in the game itself. Didn't panic, just knew what they had, knew what was probably coming, and was able just to slowly, methodically get to a point where the cards in hand, the mana present, the mana refresh they knew they had available, allowed them to do absolutely everything they wanted to. And JJ really had nothing they could do against it. Not a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I take it all back about the Highlander Druid. Dear Jay, I'm sorry. Don't find me on the ladder. I'm sorry. Absolutely amazing play right there. And one of the people that makes seeing amazing play like this happen is MetaPro Gaming. It's a full-service esport management developmental consulting company. Meta provides coaching, management, arena design, and equipment. You can visit them at metaprogaming.gg to learn more. Coach Jim Lowry, do you have anything to say before we send the nice people in Twitch chat to the next match of the night?
I was just gonna say, I really like how that last game played out. Like I said, most card games like this, I love playing that control style, just sitting back, biding my time, and then just letting it all go at the very end, just like that game went. I'm watching that game going, this is a perfect game. This is a perfect game, a perfect example of how to take control of everything. And with their hand size right there, with what they had in hand, even though it didn't look like they had control on the board, in their mind, they're like, I have this answer, this answer, this answer, and that answer. So even though it wasn't on the board, they still were controlling the board just with what they had possible on their next actions. So it really made me happy to see that happen.
Absolutely fantastic game. We see Aiden hailing from Arcadia, representing the Knights well, improving the 2-1 on the season. Meanwhile, Dear J going to hold 2 straight losses, 2 straight sweeps. Gotta clean some things up there in Montclair. They will both be playing there next week, but more importantly, we have another match coming up right after this one. Don't go anywhere. The NECC will be right back.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.